Hello, this is the Midday News Update. I'm Rex Litter. Chief Superintendent Stephen Harris has been appointed as Executive Director for the Internal Affairs Directorate, tasked to investigate and prosecute misconduct within the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. Harris will be investigating allegations of corruption and ill discipline, including the increase in mandatory alcohol and drug testing. Commissioner of Police David Manning said Harris has more than 2 decades of experience in leading positions in policing and public service across Australian jurisdictions and is now a sworn officer within the ranks of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. The new National Health Board was commissioned on Friday, October 10th in Port Moresby. This reinforces ongoing efforts to strengthen the governance and leadership of PNG's health system. Health Minister Elias Kapavores says that the National Health Board stands as the highest administrative, governance and policy oversight body in the health sector.
16 people have been appointed to the National Health Board, with the 3 deputy secretaries serving as advisory members to the board. The members of the board include Professor Dr. Matthias Sapuri, representing private health sector, Ken Y, acting secretary for health as ex-officio member, John Wahimani from the Department of Finance, Eava Gaita from the Department of Justice and Attorney General, Catherine Johnston, a public hospitals representative, and Adrian Kasman from Transparency International PNG, representing the civil society. Minister Health and HIV/AIDS Elias Kapavores said the board's establishment, functions and powers are derived from the National Health Administration Act 1997 as amended in 2023, which provides the legal framework for effective coordination, accountability and strategic direction across the national health system. He said the board plays a central role in shaping the direction of health system and will ensure that every decision taken at the national level contributes to better health outcomes for our people. Minister Kapavore also acknowledged the former board headed by Dr. Osmond Liko. Susan Oreape, TVWAN News.
Over 14 couples gathered at the IT conference hall of Don Bosco Technical School, Gabotu, on Saturday, October 11th, to take part in a marriage enrichment course focused on the power of forgiveness. It was facilitated by Father Ambrose Pereira, parish priest of Mary Help of Christmas at Sabama. The course engaged couples in deep and personal conversations centered on anger, positive ways of expressing hurt, resolving unresolved issues, and most importantly, the transformative power of forgiveness in marriage. The marriage enrichment course provided a safe space for couples to rediscover the essence of family life, a cornerstone of both church and society. In news overseas, the peace deal hasn't deterred thousands of pro-Palestinian demonstrators from marching through the streets of Sydney. While a court denied them, the Opera House backdrop organizers say the message will still be heard around the world.
For 2 years, they've taken their protest to the streets.
2 years of terror, 2 years of contraction of hope, 2 years of mass destruction.
Since Hamas's attack on October 7, 2023, Israel's bombing of Gaza has been a near constant. But while the fighting might have stopped, protesters here say they can't afford to.
Despite optimistic signs, we need to make sure that we keep the focus on those starving children in Gaza.
Abu Bakr Rafiq has just returned to Australia after the IDF intercepted the aid flotilla he was on. He says he was slapped, kicked and humiliated in custody, which the IDF denies.
And they did this with the goal that I will come home and I will remain silent. But to those IDF soldiers, look now, we will never be silent!
Police were out in force on the street, in the sky and even on water to ensure the march stayed away from the Sydney Opera House after the Court of Appeal banned it on public safety grounds. Without the Opera House and with challenging weather conditions, this was not the demonstration the protest organisers were hoping for. But they say that turning out now is as important as it's ever been.
We think this peace deal offers no genuine peace, let alone self-determination or a decent life ahead for the people of Gaza.
Stop! I'm in Israel!
Organisers say the crowd was in the tens of thousands. Police say it was closer to 8,000. But they had plenty of company in cities and regional centres across Australia. It's a protest many say they hope to stop attending in the future, just not anytime soon.
Back home, now it's an ancient road that was crucial for spreading news and information. But these days, town carriers have a mostly ceremonial remit that hasn't stopped a passionate few from persisting with the craft and going head-to-head with others at the annual Town Couriers Championship in Canberra.
Yay! While times have certainly changed, town criers can't help but draw a crowd.
Oh, yay!
Gathered in Canberra for the annual championships, competitors were vying to beat last year's record of 96 decibels. That's a little louder than a lawnmower and louder still than the bagpipes emanating from the day's other entertainment.
Truly paradise on the doorstep.
A booming voice, however, is only one part of the craft.
A good town crier is one that can craft a cry. You need to do your cry between 100 and 125 words. It must commence with 3 oyes and it finishes with either God Bless Australia or God Save the King.
It was a blustery day in more ways than one.
Unfortunately, the wind really got up and took my breath away and just dried me out. So it was really difficult to get the end of my first cry. Second cry, I think we were all a bit more relaxed. The wind was a bit more favourable and I was able to deliver the way I like to deliver. Clear, audible to all and a lot of fun.
I got hit in the back with the flying pergola, but yeah, the wind blows in your mouth and dries you out. A little bit of a handicap.
But volume isn't the only criteria. If what they say isn't exactly what was provided to judges, they'll lose points.
The 7 competitors from as far afield as Toowoomba now have to wait for judges to determine the winner.
God bless Australia! God save the King!
An ancient tradition and an enduring passion.
Back home in sports, Prime Minister James Marape described Papua New Guinea's national rugby league team name, Chiefs, as a powerful reflection of the country's deep cultural roots, ancient governance system and unity. The Prime Minister revealed the name PNG NRL team name Sunday afternoon at the National Football Stadium before the kick-off of the PNG and Australia's Prime Minister's State-in match.
Representing both the past and future of leadership in Papua New Guinea. The PNG NRL team, expected to enter the competition in 2028, will be based in Port Moresby, but will carry the national identity, drawing players from all provinces. The name Chiefs was chosen through a public poll and professional selection process conducted by Digicel, with more than 20 proposed names submitted for consideration. Marape thanked everyone who participated in the national name competition and commended the PNG NRL bid board for ensuring a transparent, inclusive and culturally grounded process. The Prime Minister also acknowledged the Australian government and NRL leadership for their partnership in making PNG's NRL NRL dream a reality. He thanked Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese for his commitment to strengthening people-to-people ties through sports diplomacy and supporting Papua New Guinea's bid as part of the broader Australia-Pacific Sports Partnership. He said the PNG Chiefs' inclusion in the NRL was not only a sporting achievement but also a nation-building milestone, symbolizing PNG's growing partnership with Australia and the Pacific region. Susan Oriape, TVWAN Sports.
The PNG women's and men's Prime Minister's 13 teams fell to a much tougher Australian PM's 13 side at the National Football Stadium in Port Moresby yesterday. The PNG men's team lost 28-10 and the women's team received another belting from the Australian side with a 15-0 trouncing. Two of PNG junior sides stood out in their performance but went down fighting in the end.
Australian PM's 13 have defeated the PNG's PM's 13.
Australia proved they are still the rugby league dominating nation, beating a resilient PNG PM's 13 side, including the junior school sides. Australia's PM's 13 men scored 7 tries to PNG's 2 in a game that never reached any real heights in front of a boisterous crowd at the National Football Stadium. PNG's only tries came from Dudley Dotoi in the first half and Apple Capiniers in the second stanza. PNG couldn't stand up to Australia's attack but played with pride in front of the home crowd. Australia still winning with a 28-10 win. In the women's, Australia's Women's Prime Minister's 13 team established clear dominance in the first half, heading into the break with a big 20-0. The opening 10 minutes saw PNG start strong, pressuring the Australian defence with several attacks deep in the red zone but couldn't find the line as the Australian side walked all over them, showing too much class. In the junior matches, the Australian schoolgirls defeated PNG Junior Orchids 20-12. The Australians may have won the game, but there were some intriguing performances from the young Orchids. After drawing 22-all in last year's Prime Minister's 13, the junior PNG Kumals muscled up to win this time, taking an early lead at half-time. However, the Australian schoolboys stole the victory in the second half, defeating PNG 22-14. Susan Oriape, TV1 Sports.
And that ends our midday news update. Do join us at 6 tonight for the main bulletin. Bye for now.